time, like we talk with other people. I mean, it's not just like in our partnership. It's just like these skills transfer over to your relationships with everyone. You know, it makes us better parents. It makes us better friends. It makes us better business owners, you know, everything. And I think that's also like what people don't really think about non-monogamy is like, it actually teaches you these skills that you need and that you could use in all areas.
Welcome to Normalizing Non-Monogamy, the podcast where we interview incredible people from across the entire spectrum of non-monogamy to hear their fascinating stories. We strive to bring guests on the show who have a healthy approach to non-monogamy. However, it's important to remember that everyone does it a little bit differently, and the views and opinions expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect our own.
Additionally, we produce this show for entertainment purposes only. Please be aware that we aren't doctors or therapists. Consult a medical professional for anything regarding your health that you might learn about on the show. Enjoy!
Welcome to episode
150? No, ma'am.
How did I totally mess that up?
One more time.
Welcome to episode 250. How crazy is that?
That's wild. It's wild. We just went from 150 to 250 in the snap of a finger.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're Finn and Emma. It's episode 250. We're pretty excited about that, if you can't tell.
We're so excited we can't even count.
That I can't even get it right. Anyway, today we have an interview with Mel and AJ. They are amazing. We have a wonderful conversation. They've been together about 10 years, and they've actually had non-monogamy come up like twice in their relationship. Once a few years ago, and then it came back up. It kind of stopped for a little bit, and then it came back up more recently.
Yeah, it's a great conversation, and we are super excited about it. So a huge thank you to Mel and AJ for coming on, for sharing your story, and as you'll find out, for putting some awesome content out in the world via TikTok.
Yes. So we're going to jump right into the interview. For anyone out there that is a premium subscriber, let's jump in. And for those of you who
are wondering, what the fuck is a premium subscriber?
Right.
We've got some information for you.
Well, first off, you probably missed the announcement on Friday.
So first, we have a reprimand for you, bad listener. You should have listened to Fridays, and you'll know exactly what a premium member is. Actually, you'll already be a premium member, and you won't be listening to this.
Right, that's true, because this will be all cut out for those people.
So for those of you who are now in timeout, we've got...
You're just trying to go like the shame route, huh?
Yeah, you're in a timeout, and part of your punishment is listening for the next minute or so as we tell you about what the premium feed is going to be, or is, and how excited we are about it.
Yeah, so Finn and I put a lot of work, obviously, into this podcast. We absolutely love it, and we're always looking for new ways to grow and provide different opportunities for our listeners. So the premium subscription is an ad-free version of this podcast episode. It goes right into the interview, and then at the end we'll do community announcements so you don't miss any of the announcements there, but any ads that we might bring in or our community announcements up front will all be cut out.
Yeah, so maybe you already are a Patreon member, which, by the way, this is included in your Patreon membership.
The premium subscription.
Premium feed. Or maybe you come to all of the meet and greets, or you use STD Check, or you just don't want to hear us talk about all this, and you just want to hear the interview, but maybe you don't want to miss those announcements. Well, they'll be at the end. Don't worry, we got you covered. We're thrilled about this. And if you go sign up today, there is a bonus episode over there that's kind of a behind the scenes look at how we built the show and how we're building the show. Plus, there's this episode that you're listening to right now, and you won't have to listen to this again. This is completely cut out, and that's the way it's going to be moving forward. So,
I was going to say, we're using the same platform as Dan Savage. So it's super simple, straightforward. Just copy the link into your podcast player. And we're using the pay what you want model. So we've set the minimums enough to cover our processing fees. But other than that, pay what feels good to you.
Yep. You can pay annually or you can pay monthly. And yeah, as Emma said, it's pay whatever you want. And just a quick note on the Dan Savage thing. We are not associated with Dan Savage yet.
Not at all.
We would love that, but that's not happening. It's just the same platform, the same service he uses for his Magnum edition of his podcast.
Yes.
All right. Well, now we have community announcements. Well, hold on. Maybe we should tell them how to sign up.
I was going to say, to sign up for the premium subscription, go and click on the links in your podcast app or go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, and you can find links to sign up right there.
And now the community announcements that we wanted to tell you about. So the first one is a huge thank you to our Patreon subscribers. We are it's like a rocket taking off the last month. We've shot up.
Growing and growing.
It's been amazing. So thank you to everybody in the last few weeks who has joined. We're over 230, sneaking up on 250 subscribers. That'll match our episode 250.
That's true.
That would have been cool.
Actually, that would have been really cool.
Make it happen. We need about 15 of you to go sign up right now. So as part of episode 250, we can have 250 subscribers. Anyway, enough pandering.
Not subscriber, Patreon subscribers.
Patreon subscribers.
You got to be clear.
I got to be super clear. All right. We've pandered enough.
Yes.
What's next?
We have an upcoming virtual meet and greet on August 30th. If you haven't joined our meet and greets before, you should, first of all. They're super fun. We bring everyone into Zoom. We send you out into breakout rooms and give you a talking point. And so you get to spend the whole night interacting with us, but also a bunch of people who are there for the meet and greet and just having a really fun, lighthearted time.
And maybe just a thing to say on that is a lot of the people who join those meet and greets that you can join as a pay what you want for free are also part of the Patreon. So maybe if you're like, I don't know about these Patreon weirdos, well, come meet them during a meet and greet. And that's a pretty great way to meet a lot of the community. So it's a great time.
That's a really good point because the meet and greets are open to anyone. You can join. You just have to be respectful and open-minded. So go sign up. Again, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, click on the community events tab, and all the information is right there.
And the last thing we wanted to tell you before we jump into this interview with Mel and AJ is that our shirts are still available. We mentioned these a few weeks ago and they were available. Well, they're still available. The shirts say Give Love and they have our logo on them and they're beautiful. And we've sold like almost 170 of them. And we're super pumped about them. So if you want a shirt, you can put your shirt on and come join all of the events and then be representing. Or as you're walking down the street, you're like, oh, I know you. And you know me. We know each other, but nobody knows we know each other.
True. It's like code.
It's a secret society.
Got it.
That's not so secret. And the other thing you can do is send us an email, send us a voicemail on our website. Go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com, click on the Contact Us tab. And there you will find ways to email us or send us a voicemail.
And now let's go talk to Mel and AJ.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the podcast, Melanie and AJ. We're excited to talk to you today. We don't know very much about you, and we're really looking forward to learning more about your journey. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys. We're super excited to be here. Like we were just talking before we started recording, we said that we had never talked to another couple actually who practices non-monogamy. So this is exciting for the both of us.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to be your first. And I think it's fun. Like we got put in touch with you by Jessica from the Open Late podcast. And she was just like, hey, you got to talk to these two people. They're amazing. And that's literally all we know about you two. So we're excited to have you here. And thank you for coming on. So do you mind introducing yourselves so we have a little bit of context of who we're talking to?
Yeah, definitely. So I am Melanie and this is my husband, AJ. We are living in beautiful, sunny San Diego right now with our two little kids. And we are online entrepreneurs. We've been doing that for the last almost 8 years now. Yeah. And we're just loving life, breaking societal norms and doing what we want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. That's amazing.
How long have you two been together?
It's about our 10th year. We're on our 10th.
Yeah. In January of 2023, that's when we celebrate 10 years married.
Okay. Awesome.
We got him by 4 months.
Yeah, we just got you by a few months, but not much. Yeah. Well, I want to dig into the history and your story, but I would love to, if you could start by just saying what your current relationship dynamic is at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. So right now, I would say that we are in an open marriage. We're in an open relationship. I guess the terminology I would use for it is ethical non-monogamy. So I date other people and AJ dates other people. And right now I currently have a girlfriend. We've been together this month will be a year that we've been together. And AJ is dating right now, just more casually. But yeah, that's our dynamic right now.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on a year.
Thank you.
It's a big milestone.
Thank you.
And yeah, I love it. And so how did how did non-monogamy come up for you two, and when did it come up?
It came up twice, actually.
Yeah. It came up twice. The first time it came up was in like 2018, I think, 2017, 2018. And I brought it up. It's something that I always was really curious about. And I've always kind of wanted to do the opposite of like what anyone ever told me to do or what society was telling me to do. And I just always was questioning, why are we doing things this way? Like, who made this up? And so that was, and I also knew from a very young age that I was not completely straight. I knew that I was into women, and that was always kind of it wasn't that it wasn't accepted, but it was just kind of like, oh, that's just a phase. It's just curiosity. It doesn't matter. So I grew up not really knowing how to who to really talk to about these thoughts and feelings that I was having about relationships and about, my sexual preferences. And so when I met AJ, he was actually like the first person that I felt really safe and comfortable with to tell him about one, how I felt about women. Like, I'm super into girls, and he just knew from the get-go, like, okay, that's totally fine. He was okay with it. And then in 2018, that's kind of when I started bringing up more talk about just non-monogamy and opening up our relationship. And I was, doing a lot of research and reading a lot about couples who have done this. And at the time, though, to preface, in 2018, it's a big, big thing. We were not in a good place in our marriage. Like, we were in in life. Because after we met when I was 22 years old, and he was 26. And just after a few weeks of dating, I was pregnant. So right after that, we got married at City Hall. We did what it takes couples, 10 years to do in less than 9 months, because we had a baby that we were gonna, have. And so we got a car. I moved out of my parents' house. I moved in with this boy that I only knew for, a few months. And, everything was happening all at once. We were like babies raising babies. And it was like I woke up and I was 26 and I had these 2 kids and a husband, and I had no idea who I was. I felt like I completely lost my identity. And financially, we weren't doing well. My AJ had a in-person fitness training business that was not doing well. Got even worse when we were going through our marriage troubles. And so I will preface it by saying we should have not have opened up our relationship at that time, because we did it to save. It's like couples having a baby to save a marriage. They think it's going to bring them closer. It's not going to. It's going to cause more problems. So we did that, and that was pretty short-lived, I would say.
Yeah, it was the first time we broke our marriage, I think.
Yeah.
But it really made us confront a lot of the issues in our marriage and what we really need to be talking about at the time. And so at that time, we shelved the idea of being open until we were really good. And we had a lot of work to do on that.
Yeah, we were like, okay, obviously that's not a good idea right now. So
right.
Let's put that up there.
Yeah, we were doing it all wrong too. It was shrouded in a lot of secrecy. We were not communicating at all. It was don't ask, don't tell. It was the exact opposite of how we do it right now. So it was, not the healthiest way for each of us to be going about it, for sure.
Yeah, well, and that was about 5 years into your marriage, right? So like you said, you kind of got this baby bombshell happened 6 months into your relationship, but then this was still another 4.5, 5 years later that you took this approach. And I guess, would you be able to talk, like you said, you weren't doing it quote unquote the right way or a healthy way. Could you talk a little bit in detail just about what that approach looked like, how it came up and how you went after it? And then maybe contrast that to what's different this time?
Mm-hmm.
I would say the intentions weren't talked about. It was kind of we weren't looking at each, there was don't look at my phone kind of thing, or we don't know who each other is talking to or what is being said.
Very mysterious.
There were no boundaries. There were no, there was no discussion. Honestly, there was zero communication. It was hey, we're open. And we really didn't even have the knowledge to even understand what that meant or what we should do to safeguard ourselves or our relationship around that. And I mean, we now, because you wanted to contrast it, we over communicate like everything. We have lots of boundaries in place. It's very healthy. We have a great marriage. We're stronger than ever. But at that point, we were like really being pretty toxic to our relationship at the time, kind of unknowingly. We didn't know what we wanted and we didn't know how to get out of it. And we just, it was just.
I would say, I mean, just even as humans, like we should not have opened our marriage, but even as humans, we weren't communicating. Just even for a monogamous couple, like we weren't communicating well, and we were very. We've grown so much, obviously, and that was before we really got into like self-development and like actually wanting to learn how to communicate with other people and like grow these skills that we need as, functioning human beings in society, who are not just following like what everyone else does. We want to think for ourselves. We want to question everything. But we didn't really know how to do that with each other.
And I'll say for me too, just to give you other perspective, Melanie had, always been kind of anti-rule. I was the opposite, actually. I was wired for monogamy. And it wasn't until like we had this reopening, relatively recently where I was really able to understand and see where she was coming from. And like, I really got behind the idea, where it's just not my natural tendency. It wasn't my natural tendency before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So fast forward to now,
a year and a half ago.
Yeah. We opened up again in January of 2020. And from that point where, I brought it up again and I was like, you know what, I really feel like we're at an amazing place in our marriage. Like there was absolutely, nothing. I mean, there's always issues, right? It's not perfect, but we were really great. We were communicating. We had grown so much as people and as partners, and we were doing really well. Life is great. And I was like, I'm still having these inklings and like, I still feel like this, even though we're great. So I think like I need to bring this up again. And we did. And, I really just told AJ how I was feeling and like what my thoughts and desires were. And again, he made me feel really, really supported and really safe and not judged and not weird, for feeling like this.
But that was also because this was the conversation that like needed to happen. Because my things were all about, I'm very logical and like, again, I'm wired for monogamy. So my thing was like around getting comfortable with it was just figuring out where Melanie was coming from and making sure that I wasn't in the long term trying to be replaced. I was like, look, if I'm not in your picture, like, cool, you prefer women over men or over me right now, that's awesome. Like, we can go separate. I don't want to like have this, thought in my mind, like I'm not important here. And like, that was the last thing on Melanie's mind. She's like, no, absolutely not. Like you check all the boxes for a man. You just like don't have a vagina.
I'm really, I was
like, okay. Like, what else can I do with that?
Yeah. So, after that, we actually like dated a woman together and just felt like that really wasn't for us. And then that's when we kind of started having separate relationships, and I would date separately. He would date separately. And I connected with someone. And, so now like literally every day we are basically checking in with each other. I mean, we work together, we live together, we're besties. So every day we're just very open about how we're feeling. We have really, really fucking hard conversations, especially in the beginning. Like when we opened up again in January 2020 or 2021, we would have these discussions that would go sometimes all night, for hours where we're both crying. But like at the end of those, we came out even stronger and like more in love and more determined to make this work. Because like, so many people, I feel like, when things go wrong or we're having these problems and we're having these discussions, it's like, why are you doing this to yourselves? Like when you could just be monogamous and like not and it's like, that's like not confronting because it's not monogamy or polyamory or, whatever it is. It's you as a human and like your triggers and your shadow parts and these parts of you that like you haven't really been forced to face. So not like it's hard, but it doesn't ever feel like we're forcing the work because we want to do the work.
Yeah. Even in our worst arguments about this and like really heavy conversations, at no point were either of us like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It was more like, or one of us would say kind of sharply, like, well, fine, let's not do this. And the other one, no matter who, like the position is, was like, no, actually, like, it's not what I'm saying. I just need more clarity on this, or more understanding around this, or more assurance around this, because it's better this way. Like I show up better in our relationship. My needs are being met. Melanie's getting her needs met. She's a totally different person. So it really, there's like way more ups than there are downs to it. But sometimes, and more so in the beginning, it needed to be like, talked about a lot more just to see where everyone was at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I appreciate all of that. And there's like so many things in there I want to pull apart. But one of them you said a few minutes ago, AJ, was back in 2018 when you first talked about it. You said that was the first time we broke our marriage. And so I think like that makes me think there was multiple breaks, and also like how after you break it, like what did that break look like? And then how do you put those pieces back together? The repair from that.
Yeah. What did the break look like? The reason it broke us, I think, is because it was the first time that either of us were like semi-dishonest with each other about what was going on. The behavior was like very out of character for both of us. And so, truthfully, like Melanie was having a moment where she like she didn't know who she was. And so like she was probably trying to decide whether she wanted to be, a wife, and obviously like you're a mom. So, there's that. But like, yeah, I guess we were both kind of in this situation where like, I don't know if she's going to continue to want to be, in a marriage with me. She might not want to be married. She might think this is a mistake. So we really just kind of took some space to figure out where we stood on all that stuff. And yeah, we mended it by
talking.
Yeah, a lot. And that's actually when the hard conversation started for us in our marriage. But like, again, like Melanie, alluded to before, with the hard conversations came like just these massive rebuilds of strength that like, I mean, we wouldn't be as strong as we are without all that breakdown and that break.
No, it gets better like each time, but I would say like that, and like it's like been twice where our marriage has been, I would say, like broken, and we've been on like the brink of not being together, and we've come back just like 100 times stronger after both of those instances. And like right now we're at a really good place where we have a really good understanding of boundaries and what each other is comfortable with. And like I said, we literally talk every day. So if something comes up, like we just address it right then and there. We don't let anything fester. We don't, because that just leads to feelings of resentment, and it doesn't feel good, to anyone. It's not fair to anyone. So yeah.
It also really comes down to the fact that like we really freaking like and love each other.
Yeah, we just like genuinely like we really enjoy each other as humans.
Yeah.
I at the core of it, like I know that no matter what, I mean, obviously we're tied. Like we've been partners for a decade. We have these two beautiful children together. We've moved across the country. We've created these businesses and this life together. Like we're tied by a lot, but like I've told AJ, like at the core of it, like I want to be with him forever and ever. I can't imagine my life without him. But like at the core of it, I just genuinely like I'm obsessed with him as a human, Mm-hmm. Like I just want to be around him all the time, and we just really want the best for each other. And I think that that's really special to find in a partner, where it's mutual, and you really want to see the other person truly, genuinely happy, and you want to see them shine, and it's not just for your benefit. I think that that's really special, and that's not something that a lot of people get. And I think that especially in non-monogamy, I think that you'll find that a lot more because it's just like more accepting, people are just more accepting of their partners, and they want them to be happy with whoever, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I love all that. And thank you. I know I'm taking all the questions right now. I just have one more that fits in here. I think the piece that I was curious, like tying into that thread exactly of like, we just want our partners to be happy. That almost runs a little contrary to and this is not like a judgment in any way, AJ, but like when Melanie first brought this to you let's say when she first brought this to you the second time, that's a contradiction of itself. But anyway,
2021, just count the years.
Yeah. The time that it seems to be working, it was like, I just needed to understand that she wasn't looking to replace me. And okay, well, I'm not a woman. So that that fear went away. Has that evolved over time to like, okay, that was my like first initial reaction. And now it's like, I get it. I understand it. Like, I'm dating other women. That's not replacing her. And we've moved to a different place. Because I guess the point was that seemed at odds of like, oh, okay, well, it's fine if it's a woman. Mm-hmm. And I know we hear that from a lot of people. And then it's like, oh, that's so toxic. But like, I'm just curious where that has landed for you.
We've had so many conversations about this exact thing where I'm like, that's so contradictory or like a double standard, you know? So yeah, we actually had like a discussion about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're at like a very different place than you were before, because it's just more, but you can explain it.
Well, in reference to what? In reference to the fact that I also date women?
Well, I think it was just I don't like the word hypocrisy, but hey, we just want each other to be happy, but as long as it's just another woman, right? Is what it kind of came like, and you never said that, but like, sort of the question in there is like, has that evolved for you as you've gotten more comfortable and had more experience exploring non-monogamy? And I know this question's been all over the damn place, and I apologize for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely has. I don't know if I have a clear answer, at this point about that, but it's definitely made me more open to the fact. And I don't view it as being, one-sided. Like, I guess if I was the one who opened it up and was like, yeah, I'm only okay with you being with women, like I set that standard, then I could see that being the case. But like, she kind of came to me explaining that her needs were, needing a woman. And also the fact that this is not polyamory is not a need of mine, right? It's something that I get, that, Melanie can trust me with, and I get to explore and see if I, am interested in it, and, see if I enjoy it, and see if I could even do that juggling act sometimes. But yeah, no, it's definitely made me have a different perspective on how we approach this, and like maybe what can happen moving forward as well.
Yeah.
And just
I love that.
Go ahead. Just knowing that it's not, I think the big thing in the beginning for AJ to wrap his mind around was like, I'm not looking for something better. I'm not looking to replace. I'm not, and it's just different, like.
Yeah. In addition.
Yeah. It's never going, like, I'm never going to have another person, like, or a relationship or a partnership like I have with AJ, like we have all of our things and our quirks and our, like, the stuff that makes us us. And like, same with Jackie, like we have a completely separate relationship, and it's different, and I love them both. And like, he obviously sees that and like feels that now. And in the beginning, it's obviously like, it's really scary, but yeah, I feel like we're both at a really good place where we have like evolved a lot, and we know that it's possible to have both.
Yeah. And just to clarify, Jackie is your girlfriend.
Jackie's my girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think like it's such an interesting dynamic of or concept, right? Of like, somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want to do this thing that is so far outside of what most people are open to. And especially if you're like, I don't really need this. I'm pretty wired for monogamy. I was pretty happy in monogamy. And it's like, so like, I want to go and play. I want to play in this other arena. And it's like, great, we can play there, but like, I need a little bit of time to adjust. I want to feel safe. Like, I'm not saying no, but like, hey, when we go jump in the ocean for the first time, like, let's bring a life jacket and, not swim too far from the boat. And, maybe in 3 years, I'll be a stronger swimmer and I'm okay, like, venturing a bit further out. And so I don't see it as like anything wrong with it. I was just kind of curious on the evolution of that. And so I apologize if it came off like
no, not at all.
You were being judged for like seeking that comfort in that, because I think there is a lot there.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a natural tendency. Like that, it just, I mean, if two people are going to open a relationship, it's natural to say like, question, am I being replaced? Like that's, or will I be replaced? Like that's just, I mean, that's pretty, I would be surprised if, right.
Where they're coming from. Like, what is your motivation? You know, are you bored? You know, like, are we, like, is it not exciting enough for you? And I think I should mention too, like, you know, the thing that kept bringing me back to the fact that, you know, even we had hard conversations, I was never wanting to end it, is because there's like this newness that we got and have from being this way that, like, I just don't see how you'd find in a regular relationship. It makes us so much more intentional with our time. It makes us work a lot harder for each other. It makes us show up better for each other. Not because there's competition, but because there's, I don't know, like there's our time is just so much more like, you know,
I mean,
protected.
It is. Yeah. Because I mean, especially I have AJ, and then I have Jackie, I have my children, I have like friends, and I want I have myself, and I have like, I want to hang out with like AJ and Jackie, you know, and like the entire family. And so, yeah, I mean, it's hard. Where was I going with this? What was
I don't know where you were going.
I don't know where
Well, I'll ask a question based on that though, is like, how do you balance all of those things?
I mean, it's really fucking hard. I don't even know. It's
She does a great job, but I don't know. I really don't know how you do it. That's why I am like, you know, I haven't gotten that deep into another relationship yet. So I'm like, look, I don't even know. Like, I want to try, but I don't even know if I'm going to enjoy that you know, dance that you do like so well.
I mean, I do it because I enjoy it, and because I mean, I think that it's the way that we do it for us is the only way that it would work, because I mean, I guess you would call us kitchen table poly. That's like we're very open. Like I want, you know,
we're all integrated.
Yeah, we're all integrated.
It's not a separate. It is a separate relationship, but it's not like don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, like Jackie's very involved with our family. You know, she watches the kids. She comes over most nights. She spends the night most nights.
Me and Jackie have a good relationship. Yeah. It's not like I don't get to talk or hang out with Jackie. Sometimes we even go out just the two of us because it makes our relationship better. And when Jackie and I have a better understanding of each other, the whole dynamic works a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it brings in that security, right? And you can go to Jack, like, I'm not saying this conversation's happened, but you can have that conversation like, hey, I'm worried you're trying to steal my wife. And it's like, no, I'm not trying to steal your wife, right? Like, and you can have that intimate conversation with your metamor, like that brings you back to a place of like center.
Or even just, I think, like getting to know each other, it takes away that mystery for both of you.
Yeah. I know my example was a bit extreme. Trying to prove a point here. Anyway, no, I love it. And it's a tricky dance. And like you said, AJ, like it may not even be one that you want to do, like, and that you two are okay, like figuring out imbalance, and like, it doesn't have to be equal. And definitely. I love that.
Yeah. As you're figuring this out, I guess, where do you see anything changing in the near future? Do you want anything to change, or are you just open to whatever kind of comes your way?
I feel like we're kind of open to whatever comes our way. Yeah. I mean, I feel really happy and grateful to be where we are right now, and like to be with the people that I'm with right now. And I mean, I definitely see my relationship progressing with Jackie in different ways. We do also plan on telling our children, actually in a couple weeks, because we wanted to do it like when they are out of school, like for the summer. And that's a huge step for us, because right now, like Jackie has just been a really good friend, that, you know, spent the night a lot. But we have a lot of friends just in California that we have friends right now that are staying with us for, you know, a couple nights. So it was never weird to them. We truly think that like the more weird you make something, or the bigger of a deal you make something with children, they're going to make it a big deal. So we plan on telling them just very casually, and, you know, leaving the space open for them to ask questions, and just letting them know like nothing is going to change, making sure that they feel really safe and loved. And yeah, I think that that's like a huge sign of progress. And yeah, just like little steps here and there. But yeah, we're kind of open. We don't have any like, this is exactly how we want our life to look. And, we're kind of going with the flow, and we're just really happy.
We're not big planners, if you haven't guessed it.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
Nothing wrong with that. And yeah, thank you for mentioning the part about telling your kids too, because that's going to lead to my next question is, what do they know? And other people in your life, how have you handled that?
Yeah. Our kids right now, they're just, our partners are just good friends, and they've only met Jackie. So our other family, our friends all knew first. So our friends were all like very supportive from the get-go.
Very curious.
Very curious, had a lot of questions, but very, very supportive. And then our family. So my mom found out in like the worst way possible when she was visiting us in California last summer. And she came for my son's birthday party, and like she was staying with us for a couple days. And in the morning, Wilder, one of our littlest, was like, it was like 7 a.m. And he's like, is Jackie here? And my mom was like, that's weird. Like, why would Jackie be here at 7 a.m.? And so whatever. And then like later that day, I was out and my iPad was ringing and a picture came up, and it was me and Jackie kissing. And my mom saw it, and my mom was like, what the fuck? So in my mom's mind, she was just so confused, because she's like, what, like, is Melanie cheating? Is AJ cheating? Are they both like with Jackie? Are they like, is AJ gay? Is AJ gay? Like, I don't know what's going on. And so, I was not prepared to come out, to anyone at that time, in my family. And so my sister called me and she's like, yo, like mom is at your house right now. And she just called me and she's asking about Jackie, because my sister knew. So she's like, I just want to prepare you for that. I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm not ready for this. And so I get home and my mom right away, she wants to talk. And I'm like, AJ, come outside with me and talk to my mom with me. And so we're both like, my mom is freaking out and she's like, what's going on? Like, who is this person? And I was like, okay, I'm just going to tell you everything at once. I was like, I'm gay. And me and AJ have an open marriage, and I am dating Jackie. Jackie's my girlfriend. And she was like, like what?
Her head exploded.
Yeah, her head just exploded. And she had so many questions, and she was pretty upset over the fact that I didn't tell her that I was gay. That's like what she was like, I understand that, but like, why didn't you tell me? She was mad that I didn't tell her, which I'm like, everyone should be able to come out in their own time, in their own way. So I was kind of upset that she was upset about that part. But most of our family, like after that, after my mom knew, me and my mom are very, very close. So I was like, now that she knows, I really don't give a fuck who else knows, because whatever. I don't really care what other people think of me and my family besides my mom. So when she knew, I had called my dad, because I wanted my dad to be on the same page and to just know what was going on. And it was funny, because after that had happened, me and Jackie and AJ made a pact. And I was like, I'm going to tell my dad today. AJ's going to tell his parents today. And she hadn't come out to her parents. She hadn't told them that she was gay. So she came out to her parents on the same day. And then we all like met at night, and we just like cuddled and like comforted each other after that day. But our families have the biggest issue, not anymore, I would say, but their biggest thing was the polyamory and like the ethical non-monogamy part of it, like the open marriage part of it, was just bizarre to them. They could not wrap their minds around it.
Yeah. They wanted to make sure that, number one, that our marriage was like good.
Yeah. They thought
and that the kids were good.
Yeah. They wanted the kids to be safe and happy, and they wanted us to be good. They thought that something was wrong with us because we were opening up our marriage, and we're like, no, like things are actually really fucking great. Like this is just what we're doing. And, they were still like a little iffy after that. And, I would try to bring Jackie up, or like, just kind of make it a part of conversation. And it was still really making people uncomfortable. But now, like, it's been a year that I've been with Jackie, and about like a year and a half that we've been open. And but like all of our families know, our friends know, obviously social media knows, and they've both seen us in person. Like my mom came to visit, and then AJ's parents came to visit. And after those visits, they both were like, you guys are really good. Like I see, you seem really happy. Like this is what, they were curious about. And they were like, I just saw it in person. Like you guys are obviously really good. So yeah, more power to you. So I think like now they don't completely get it, but it's not really anyone else's to get anyway. You know, like we're not telling them to try out non-monogamy. So I'm like, we're not forcing it on anyone, but it just works for us. And like, it is what it is. So they're really, really supportive of it right now.
Yeah. It, to your point of like, they came and visited and then saw it in person, and it takes away that mystery too, for them.
Yeah,
exactly.
They can build things up like we all do in our heads of like, well, this must mean this and this must mean that, and go and go and go. So once you actually put it into the pieces together and see it for yourself, it's like, oh, okay, so this is how this could work.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, to your mom's credit, right? That's like a lot of information to have, like to be like she stumbled across it first of all, and then she's like trying to figure out like, are people like, what is going on here? And then you kind of come out with everything like your sexual orientation is not what she thought it was. Your relationship is not what she thought. And like all of the things she thought she knew about her daughter for 30-ish years are gone. Right. And so like, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of information to digest in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I don't blame her necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it was like in a different circumstance so that I didn't have to, you know, say all those things in one go, but I just kind of ripped off the Band-Aid and, you know, it's all great now. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot and because at the same time, like, I don't think a lot of people talk, I mean, I think that they do, but I don't really hear a lot about it. But when I came out, especially like at 30 years old, like you know, we were open. I was really like, I finally felt like I was me and like, I was like in my skin and like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can finally just like, you know, it was such a huge weight off my shoulders. But with like that freedom and that authenticity, finally, it also comes a lot of confusion. Cause like I just came out and like, I'm in this open marriage. I'm like dating women for the first time in my life. I'm having sexual experiences that I've never had in my life, you know, with both partners. And I'm exploring all these things that I've wanted to explore for so long. And it can be overwhelming and it's scary because you're just like, who am I? I'm like discovering all these new parts and pieces of me every single day. And like, that is really confusing and that's really scary. And so I just wanted to kind of come to more terms with everything before I came out to my family, you know, so that I could kind of be more prepared myself. And that even just, I think, added a whole nother layer because my mom's like, I'm confused. I'm like, I'm confused, you know, like it's fucking hard, but like, it is what it is. We're all just trying our best. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard. It's confusing, but yeah, you just got to do what makes you happy.
It's worth it.
Yeah. This is all new to me too.
Exactly. It's fucking hard.
Yeah. I was curious, like on that thread of like you said, Melanie, like you're even some days you're like, I don't even know. Right. And like, that's confusing. Like, how does that play out for you, AJ? Cause I know like, again, there's a little bit of an imbalance here, right? Where AJ, you're kind of like, well, I kind of know, like I'm into this, I'm into that, and I'm fairly established in that. But like being partnered with somebody who's like from day to day, like, I don't know, like the amount of mystery. And maybe this is something I'm personally struggling with. So I'm asking this question for self-fulfilling reasons. Yeah. But like, I'm curious how you navigate that.
I mean, I feel like it's just trust. Like it takes so much trust to be in this kind of situation and just to, you know, for, you know, the first time, not really, I don't know why it would be the first time, but you kind of just have to listen to what your partner says. If they're like, look, like they take you by the face and they're like, I fucking love you so much. I want to be with you forever. There's like, that's, you know, when someone says that, when Mel said that to me, I was like, you know what, like I need to actually hear that and listen to it because now it's on me to accept that and to listen to that and to really embody that. And not, you know, have to like worry so much about, you know, what she's doing, even though she's trying to still figure it out. I'm still in that plan, you know, regardless of what she's up to that day. But it's also been, you know, exploratory for me because I didn't think I'd be that cool with even what we're doing right now. You know, like if you had told me like in 2018 that we were going to do that again, like there's no way. And at first it was like very triggering because a lot of it was reminiscent of what was going on in 2018, but it was just all above board. And so it was like, oh, okay, like this is how we were supposed to be doing it. And yeah. And so for me, it's just, staying the course and also just constant communication with where she's at, and where we're at, obviously.
Yeah. Have you, either of you, but experienced jealousy and insecurities around, or I'm assuming that you probably have because most people do. Yeah. Do you mind expanding on those a little bit?
So much.
Yeah.
Like it literally just like
it brings all that
shows
stuff.
you all of your like triggers and trauma and all of that. I feel like I keep saying like that we just literally talk and communicate, but like when we get jealous, I mean, I think it was coming up.
It wasn't jealousy.
No.
Per se. It was more just like, hey, my needs aren't being met, or
it was really, I mean, in the beginning, because in the beginning, we dated together, and then we separated, and then AJ really wasn't dating. I was dating though. And then I had met Jackie. Me and Jackie really connected, and we kind of, obviously we stayed together and we continued dating. And in the beginning of mine and Jackie's relationship, because things were getting more serious and there was more feelings, and as things progressed, that's when we had like the majority of these really hard conversations, because I feel like you were a little like scared. It's really scary.
Yeah, it was moving in a direction.
It was progressing. It was moving in this direction for like the first time that I, had actual feelings for this other person that wasn't my husband. And so I feel like it's a lot for everyone to kind of take in, and it's a lot for me to feel, because I'm confused, and it was a lot for him to feel. So that's when we had like the majority of our really hard conversations was in the beginning of that relationship. And I think it's just like, you need that extra reassurance. You need that extra, like, like we're good. And like, this is what's going on. And then when he started dating more, that started coming up for me. Like I was getting jealous, and I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? And so again, it just forces you to like look at that and be like, okay, where is this actually coming from? Like, let me like dig deeper. And so we had more hard conversations, and we realized that we needed to put, a couple more boundaries in place to make us feel really comfortable. And that's what we did. So it's just like, things come up and you address them. But yeah, I mean, I think we're in a really good place right now where, I even said to him, like when I started having those feelings of jealousy, I was like, I'm really sorry that I didn't really understand what he felt in the beginning of my relationship with Jackie. And I was like, I'm really feeling that now when you're in these beginning stages of this relationship, and I'm feeling those feelings, and like, I get it. And like, I think it's really healthy for us both to experience that and to like overcome those things together, because obviously it's helped us grow and expand as humans, as well as partners in this relationship. But yeah, I think like those feelings are always going to come up. They're natural, but it's like what you choose to do with that, because I feel like the majority of people are like, I'm jealous, and like, it's very territorial. Like relationships feel very territorial, and I'm just like, I never want to say that something is mine, or like, I'm not, like, that just doesn't feel like love to me. It feels like hierarchy. It feels like ownership, and this has just been really, loving and growth centered and really expansive for us. And feelings of humanness come up, but we just choose to address them in what I think is a really mature, healthy way, which is just fucking talking about it.
Yeah. And our conversations would end, and we get to a point where, when I was having most of the hard time in the beginning of her relationship, she would just be like, well, what more could I be doing? Like, what else do I need to be doing? And once all those boxes were checked, I couldn't complain anymore. Because she's like, I'm doing all the things you want me to do. What else can I do? And I was like, I don't know. There's nothing. It's on me now. Like to either be okay with this and figure out where my stuff's coming from, or not. Because like no one's forcing anyone to be here, right? So it really forced me to address what was really bothering me about what was going on. And so I did.
Yeah.
I love that. And it actually kind of maybe prompts the question that is like, you kind of talked about after the 2018 trial, and you kind of it sounds like you both went to work on yourselves in a lot of ways after that. And like, came back in 2021 different people in a lot of ways. Can you talk a little bit about like that work? Because you also said, right, we talked, but like, what was the self-work and the self-growth process in that like 3-year window that allowed you to come back and do this differently?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it had to do with moving out to California, honestly. We became like different people when we moved from Chicago to California.
Yeah.
And it just allowed us to reinvent ourselves and our energy and our relationship. And
for context, when was that?
4 years ago. Yeah. We moved out to California. And also, I would say before that, like after we were mending, from 2018, it was after that where I was like, I'm really unhappy. Like that's what I should have addressed in the first place, was instead of going out and looking for attention and seeking this thing to save us, I should have been trying to make myself happy and figure out my purpose in life and like what I wanted to do. And that's really what I set out to do after that happened. And that's when I got into, I started as an online health coach, and I built a business, and it was really successful, and AJ was working with me on my business, and we were able to move across the country to California. And I would say and before I even started that, I had hired a spiritual life coach, and I really credit her to helping me think just bigger about life in general, and to really just start questioning, like, why are you so scared? Like, why can't you move to California? Like, why can't you do that? And this whole time I've just like been playing it safe and staying comfortable and staying within my little, 10-mile radius in Chicago, when there was like this huge life that needed to be lived. And so that really really gave me the kick in the ass that I needed to be like, what do I actually want out of life? What's going to make me happy? And me and AJ just started having more talks about life and like, what are we doing here? And what's going to make us like,
what really matters?
Yeah. Like what really matters, and what do we want our future to look like, and what's going to make us happy? And is this it? And that really prompted us to move out to California. And yeah, just like H said, like I felt like I could totally just be me, and I felt like I wasn't myself in Chicago. Like I didn't feel like I had to reinvent myself to come to California. I felt like I could finally be myself.
Yeah, it happened
in California. Right. Like I could wear what I wanted to wear. I could like talk how I wanted, like just dress how just everything, like my personality, everything changed. And I just felt like I was home, and like I could just be me, and like that. It really made me feel more comfortable with coming out. And because everyone here is just so open and supportive, and like everyone just does their own thing. And I don't think I would not be the same person that I am, or we would not have the same relationship if we would have stayed in Chicago. So yeah, I think our cross country move, just like alone as a family of 4, was really, really pivotal for us. And just a lot of self-development work. Like, we've hired mentors, we've gone to therapy, we've read the books, we've done like the courses, we're always looking on how to improve ourselves. And
we just talk a lot.
Yeah.
We talk a lot.
And like we talk with other people. I mean, it's not just like in our partnership, it's just like these skills transfer over to your relationships with everyone. It makes us better parents, it makes us better friends, it makes us better business owners, everything. And I think that's also like what people don't really think about non-monogamy, is like it actually teaches you these skills that you need, and that you could use in all areas of your life.
Just out of the box thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I love too that like the concept that like sometimes just a huge life shift, like picking up and moving across the country, is that thing that you're like, you land in the new city and you're like, well, I can be whoever I want here. Nobody knows me. So like, let me be me. Mm-hmm. And the people who love me will hang around me, and like, I can reinvent that. And I think that's sometimes just having that like life changing event is huge and almost just needed in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And like everyone was like, you guys are never going to move. You guys are never going to move. And I'm like, that just makes me want to do it even more. And we did it. And it was just like a big, like, fuck you to everyone. I'm like, look at what we're going to do now. And now like anything that we tell people, I'm like, after this, people are just like, whatever.
Right.
Like they expect it. Yeah, they expect it. So it's all good.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I think that's something we can relate to too.
Yeah. I feel like we walk around.
Been in, I guess, non-monogamous.
Oh, we don't do this. It's gross. No, it's been like almost since 2007.
2007?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So, yeah.
Are you guys are married?
We are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
10 years in August.
In August. So,
yeah.
Congrats. So soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is soon. It's exciting.
So I had a question back, and this one's interesting, and I don't really know what the exact question is. So we interviewed a couple. It was episode 221. I just looked it up while we were talking, and they have a podcast as well, and they're Australian, and they actually, similar to you two, like within weeks or I think a month of kind of like
meeting and
dating and hooking up, she got pregnant, and they went the opposite direction of you two, which is the quote that they shared on the episode was like, well, we aren't going to pretend that all of a sudden we're in love and we want to spend our lives together and all of these. Yeah. And it's like, this isn't who we were last week. We're not that way today just because now all of a sudden Kate is pregnant. And so, that. But you two took like the opposite tact of like, well, we're pregnant. Here's what we do when we get pregnant. We get married.
Totally.
We do this. We buy a house. And so I was just curious, like the mindset, and I don't know that one's right or one's wrong. It was just a totally different approach. And I was curious if you could talk to that a little bit.
No, I love that. I actually saw that on the like the infographic or like the quote for it. And I thought that I was like, oh my God, yeah, that makes total sense. And if it were to happen, if that happened with any other person besides AJ, that would have been me. I would have been like, oh, my mom is going to help me raise this baby. I'm not going to raise this baby with you. Like, you can be in and out if you want, but like, we're not going to be together. But like me and AJ, when we met, it was very like everything, like I was planning on being, single girl for as long as I could and like not having kids, not being tied down, none of that. I met AJ and everything changed. Like within a week of us dating, we were already talking about eloping and we were looking at rings to buy. And so when I got pregnant, I still, like, I remember we had just found out and we were in a cab ride to go to my sister's house because I just needed my sister to tell her. And I was like, you know what, like, I'm going to go through with this and you can be as involved as you want to be. But like, I know that we just met. So if you like, no hard feelings, like you can cut ties right now and we're good to go, like I won't think anything bad. And he was just like, no, like if you're going to do this and I'm going to do this, like, well,
yeah. Cause I was in the same boat. If it happened with anybody else, I'd be like, thank you. I'll get out of this cab now. And
yeah, you would not have done that.
Here's $20 and you tuck and roll.
You would have been maybe more tempted.
No, he's too good of a guy to do that. But, yeah, I mean, we were already we were really in love already, it was, I don't know what it was, but it was just when and it felt like this is right. And I knew that he was my person. I will say though, if I could go back and not get married, I would not have gotten married. I would be completely 100% content. I would still be committed. And with AJ, I know that in my heart, like I want to be with him forever. I don't have the same views around marriage as I did before. So I even asked AJ, I'm like, should we get divorced and like stick it to the man? And he's just like, no, like it's fine. It's like, that's going to be more work.
You're like kind of sticking it to us at that point.
Yeah.
Like paperwork and shit like that.
But I just like, I don't like following, like, I'm like, this is just like a government wants us to get married.
It was mostly, I mean, we needed insurance. We were young.
It was
we
insurance.
Had no money. Like we were not established and like we needed health benefits for Melanie and Fast.
So. But that's also like, people will say, give a shit on my TikTok and send me nasty things and be like, this isn't even a marriage. You guys have a piece of paper. And like, I'm like, yeah, like marriage doesn't mean the same thing to everyone.
Like we wanted.
Yeah, we were in love, but like, I also was broke as a joke and like, I was about to have a baby and my dude had insurance. So like, yeah, we got married at City Hall within, a couple weeks because your girl needed insurance to have a baby, like, and it just looks different for people. And it's just
I think if like society was different and we could have just had our relationship and also had benefit, health benefits somehow.
Yeah.
Like,
it would have been different.
Universal or something crazy like that. It would have been a story.
Yeah.
I was just like, Deb, could you imagine if Jesus Christ. Okay.
I was like,
no. Yeah. It's just, and I know we're going to like probably get hate mail for this, but like, the person who's giving you shit saying, well, you're just married for a piece of paper is the one who's like, we can't give healthcare to these freeloaders. Right. And it's like, well, Jesus, what do you want me to do? You don't want me to get married for health insurance, and you don't want me to have health insurance unless I'm working 40 hours a week. And like, all right. Okay. We'll have to start a new podcast about that.
You can still work 40 hours or more a week and still not
get any fucking health insurance. That's
you can work.
It's a good system.
A lot.
Yeah.
It works. It works very well.
Yeah. But that's just it's how it worked. But I completely like what that girl said. I think that was the smartest thing that she could have done in that situation, because that was totally the truth. For us, it was like last week we were talking about getting married. We were looking at rings. We were in love. We were going to do this anyway. So like, I'm pregnant. We we need the insurance. So like, let's just do it now. It's like sooner rather than later. But yeah, I mean, I don't regret marrying AJ. I'm very much in love. I'm very happy. I just want to like stick it to the man all the time. So anything that's like a societal norm, I just want to break it. That's just me. He gets kind of annoyed with me sometimes for that, but I can't help it.
No, I get it. And I mean, it's interesting. And like to even think about that and now like to contrast that with the other couple, like they live in Australia where, wow, look at that. They've got a different healthcare system. Yeah. And so she probably didn't feel those same pressures. She's like, great, I'm going to have this kid. It's going to be supported. Mm-hmm. I don't have to worry about that. Right.
Yeah.
But
would have been totally different. Yeah. Which like, I would have been completely fine with, it was never like I'm having a baby out of wedlock. Like it was literally because we needed the insurance. But I still like, I would have had no issue having babies, not being married, and just, I would still be committed to him and in a partnership. But I just, I don't have the same views around, marriage as I used to, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Good question.
It was a great. Do you have anything?
Blooper question.
Okay. Well, I have one more before that.
Okay, go for it.
I think one other thing I was just wanting to touch on was, I know we've talked a lot about different like elements of growth and everything, like just maybe for each of you, like how have you seen the other grow over the last couple of years that you've gone down this path together?
I mean, Melanie's a lot more secure and like grounded, I think. I think for a while you were, figuring out who you were, and like rightfully so, it was just kind of like you were up in the air, trying to find your place. And she's just like so much more confident and like sure of herself and happy. Mm-hmm. That's probably the biggest thing. But yeah, you really come into your own. And become like the best version of yourself that I've seen yet.
Thank you. I would say for age, I've just seen him become so much more confident in himself. And it's like everything that I already like knew about him and like thought about him and felt about him, I finally feel like he's like seeing those things for himself, and he is just like such a confident like man now. Like he's just grown so much. And I just think that his communication style and his ability to understand and support has like just exponentially grown. Like I've never talked to someone who made me feel like so safe and like so seen, and just like, you're not like whatever you feel is natural and normal. And his ability to just like make you feel like that and to like make you feel really important and loved. And that has like really grown for me. I don't know if it's because like my love for him has grown, so like I feel it so much more. But yeah, I've seen like just his maturity in that communication style, really grow. And, his confidence, I think he's your happiness too. Like I can totally tell when he's, giddy or like, talking to like a new girl. Cause, and I like that. Like I like when he's happy and like it brings like a good sense of newness to the relationship. So it's, that's it.
I love it. And good question.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you both just for everything that you've shared. It's been wonderful getting to know you better, and I've loved this conversation and have taken a lot from it too. So thank you.
Thank you.
As we kind of warned you about before we started recording, we like to ask a blooper question. Do you have anything that didn't go quite as planned that you wanted to share?
Other than your mom seeing you kissing your girlfriend.
I was going to say, that was a pretty good blooper, right?
But that one doesn't count because you already talked about it, so you got to come up with a new one.
Is there anything that hasn't gone as planned?
I don't know. I mean, nothing's planned. So for us, it's just like anything that comes up.
I mean, when I think of like scenarios like that, I think of like bad dates or like just like dates gone wrong or like, and I feel like AJ, all my dates have been really great. I think
I've gone on more.
AJ's he's gone on way more dates than I have. And he said that he's been out of the dating scene for a while. So he's had just some funny date experiences that he'll come home and I'm just like, oh, sorry.
Dating is weird. I didn't do a lot of it, during, I don't know, when people normally date, like in high school. I always had like a girlfriend, but I never like dated, a lot. So I'm dating more now than I ever have in my life. And so the experiences for me are totally new. And it's just really interesting, like getting these like little micro looks at people and using apps and like having these little dates with people and figuring them out or not. And I don't know, like I've just had some interesting people on the other end of dating apps that sometimes misrepresent themselves or are using really old pictures, or sometimes we just like Melanie will push me to go on a date with someone before I really started talking to them too much, and then I get there and it's like a total mismatch. Then I have to spend the next 3 hours with this person who like we really shouldn't be on. She's like really go like get her, message her now, like go out tonight. And I'm like, no. I take time. Like if the conversation isn't good, then it's not going to be a good date. So I've had like a couple mismatches where like either of us have no business being there together and probably would have come to that conclusion.
Yeah. I just get giddy for him. I get excited and like to get him all ready for his date. So
yeah, she helps me get ready for dates too.
Yeah. But I feel like the biggest like thing that has gone wrong has been my mom finding out. But other than that, we have to keep a pretty like tight household around here because we got the children. Yes, so no room for bloopers in this household.
Right. No room for fun. I get it. Yeah. No, I love the point you make though, AJ, of like, you never really did the dating thing. And I can like, this is something I know I can personally relate to. And Emma, I know for you as well, like neither of us really dated. Like we had a boyfriend or a girlfriend in high school, each of us. And then we basically got into our relationship for the most part and have been in this, like we did some dating in like the swinging world, but in terms of like either of us just going out and going on a date and going to a restaurant, like it just has never really been a thing. And so like all of a sudden at whatever mid-30s, you're like, I'm going to give this dating thing a try. And it's like, no, there's apps and there's all sorts of things. You're like, this is just a whole new world. And I can see like, I could see it being like challenging, but also like super weird and fun. Like you show up and you're like, well, I don't know. We're just going to see like this random person from the internet that my wife made me go on a date with. And like, we're just going to have fun with it. So
it makes for good stories though afterwards.
Definitely. So yeah, it's entertaining.
It's a good experience.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
I have so many, but
I know, right? Like that's the thing.
You guys are coming you guys are moving back to California soon.
That's right. We'll do the next interview in person.
Yeah, we'll have to meet up in person.
Let's make it happen. Yeah, that would be amazing. And
is there anything else that either of you would like to share?
The thing that I like to kind of just like put out there so that people know is like,
you always have your last word.
I know, because I just feel like when people think of non-monogamy or polyamory, they have like this very like old school thought in their head of like a bunch of people naked in a hot tub together, or like, and it's just like, that could be it, but like
it's on Saturdays, but other than
that, but like, it's like, it just like any relationship, this can look different too. It doesn't matter if it's like polyamorous or non-monogamous or whatever. And I think that what people miss or they don't really understand about polyamory is like at the core of it, it's like just it's multiple love, right? So like I love AJ, I love Jackie, I love my children, and like the love that we have for each other, like that also has to be there for this whole thing to work, so it's just more love. And I really want to like hammer that home is like, it's like more love, more community, more communication. And there's like so many benefits to it. I'm not like trying to preach that everyone should, but like there are bits of non-monogamy that you can take into your own life without being non-monogamous, like you can incorporate more communication in your relationships, maybe be more intentional with your time together with your partner. Like, there's certain bits and pieces that really make non-monogamy work. And you can take those even if you're just kind of, experimenting or want to improve your relationship. I definitely think that there's like bits and pieces that we can take from both. But
yeah, I think everyone always needs like to categorize everything, and it has to fit perfectly in a box, even if you're doing an out of box thing. And like when Melanie gets stuff about like, she'll get comments on TikTok that like, I'm the puppet master. Yeah. And I have these two, women. And I'm like, believe me, I am not a perpetrator of anything in this house. So yeah, like it can just be whatever you want to be and whatever works for your marriage. You get to define it with your partner. And as long as that commitment is there and you guys have, whatever you want to do, then
everyone is safe and healthy and consenting. And I also just like to leave it with like, for just like anyone out there who's questioning something or is having like thoughts or desires or feelings that they think might not be normal or, go against what they've been taught or are, even in a relationship where they don't feel like their partner would, be okay with those feelings, like still follow that and like be curious with yourself and question things, because there's so many people out there that are not living life to like their fullest potential or living life in the happiest way possible. Like life is so short when you think about it. And like, I just want people to start questioning things and get curious with themselves and like really go into that, because I think it could really lead to a lot of self-discovery for the good and just learning how to live, your best, happiest, most authentic life. And again, doesn't mean I'm saying you have to be non-monogamous, but like just start questioning any feelings, desires, thoughts that you have and see where that takes you.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I have one more thing.
Sure.
All right. I mean, yeah, what Emma said, like that's like what you said resonated hard here. I was curious, and you two didn't come on the show to promote anything, but you did mention you have different online businesses and you've done some coaching. Is there anything you do want to promote while you're here? Like ways people can find you or work with you or anything, or would you like to keep that separate? It's totally up to you.
Do you want to?
I think everyone should, if they're listening to this, they should probably follow your TikTok, because
I would say I think that was also like a universe thing too. My Instagram and my Facebook got completely hacked and deleted, but like right around Christmas. And I had amassed this following, like up like almost 10,000 followers on Instagram, like, but it was all like health coaching and fitness and like all of that stuff. And I swear, like the universe was like, this is just not you anymore. We're just going to throw that all away. You're going to come up, like reinvent yourself online. So I did. I took like 3 months off social media, and that was when I was going through like a lot of like our relationship stuff, and I was with Jackie and all of that. And I learned so much about myself, and I feel like I reemerged on social media as like the new not new, but like who I always was, but now I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. So I am back on social media, and my whole TikTok is just based around non-monogamy and polyamory and life with, my hubby and my girlfriend and my kids. So that's been really fun and just a cool creative outlet. So yeah, I'm there. I think I'm Melanie_Morton_ on the TikTok. But yeah, that's just been really fun. I would say that that's like the only place where you can see us entertaining you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you call it the TikTok, because that makes me feel seen. And we'll put links in the show notes for your TikTok.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. This was so fun, and it was so great talking to you guys.
Likewise. Yeah. Thank you both, and have a fantastic sunny Southern California day.
We sure will. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're back. A huge thank you to Mel and AJ for coming on the show, for sharing your story, and for all of the amazing work that you put out there.
Yeah, I will echo Emma's gratitude. Thank you both for your vulnerability and for contributing to the project that we're creating here. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Before we let you go, just want to do a quick reminder that you can go to our website, normalizingnonmonogamy.com. Over there, you can find podcast show notes. You can find information on how to sign up for our Patreon community that is growing by the day, by the way. And you can...
That's a rhyme, by the day, by the way.
Right. Yeah,
I love it.
Didn't you see how easily I rolled that off the tongue?
It's going to be our new catchphrase.
You can also sign up for the new premium edition of our podcast, and you can do a lot of other things. Let's see, you can buy shirts.
Yeah.
There's
a meet and greet.
Well, I was going to say the shirts say more about the shirts, damn it.
I will be quiet now.
The shirts say give love. They're super soft, and we love them, actually. They're amazing. So we really encourage you to go check them out. They're super fun.
And maybe you already have a give love shirt. Maybe you should just give a give love shirt to somebody else.
That works too.
That works.
There you go.
There you go.
We're nailing it.
Am I allowed to talk again? Am I out of time out?
I just keep growing.
I believe I redeemed myself there, by the way.
Good job. We also have an upcoming virtual meet and greet on August 30th, so go sign up for that too.
And next week, we will be coming back at you on Wednesday with an interview with Susanna. It's a great conversation, and we are super excited about it. And until then, have a fantastic week. Go to our website, send us an email, send us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. And again, as Emma said, there are podcast show notes over there with photos of most of our guests, this week's included. So check that out, and we'll see you in a week.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.